Hello and welcome back to your South King County Real Estate Update. My name is Sarah Eggleston with Stone Egg Realty, and I'm back to deliver your local real estate news for South King County. I'll go ahead and jump right on into it. Today is November 4th, 2022. So the Seahawks did play last weekend and won 27-13 against the Giants. Hopefully they can repeat that against the Cardinals coming up this coming Sunday at 1:05. All right, and what happened this week? So this week I have had a couple conversations with sellers about potentially listing their home, timing, what their home's worth now, and various financing options to make the move happen. Last time I talked about the 2-1 buy down, which is a really awesome thing for buyers. But if you currently own a home, there are a few different programs to help you make that move really smoothly. And so I am going through this with one of my clients right now, and it's really exciting to see that they can use their equity in one home to purchase their next home, make a move, and then sell their previous home. As long as the sale closes for their new home and the home is sold within 6 months, that time period, then there is no additional fees for this program. There are a few different ways to do it, but the one I'm working with them right now is called Knock Home Swap. And that is, I don't know, it's just a really great program that seems to be a very pertinent thing right now, because homes that are selling quickly for the most dollar are the ones that are presented really well, priced right, but if they're clean, staged, ready to go, all decluttered, all of the previous owner's things are out and it is staged, that is really where things really shine. So in this market, it is super important to present your house well, and it is so much easier to do that if you no longer live there. So I just think it's a really great option, especially for sellers in today's market. So if you're interested, please reach out. Not all real estate agents have access to this program, but I do. So please let me know if you are interested. I'll go ahead and jump back on into these slides. U.S. home price growth slows most on record as market hits brakes. So this came from the Seattle Times last week. This article talks about a national measure of prices, which increased 13% from August of last year. This is all national numbers, but is down 15.6% since July. So this just shows how crazy the spike was early in the year and how much prices have dropped since then. But we are still up year over year. With mortgage rates in the 7s now, they've been flirting around 7, maybe dipping below a few days, but mostly above 7, in the low 7s. That has really put a brake on buyers being able to move. Although, remember last time, I have options for that, so don't let that stop you from investigating whether you can buy a home right now. And Seattle area prices are actually up 9.9% year over year. So we're not up on average as much as the national average, but we started out at a higher price. So it's not overly surprising that our year over year increase is a little bit less than the national average during this adjustment. And this is for King, Snohomish, and Pierce counties. The largest price month-to-month price drop from July to August was for Seattle at 3.9%. And only San Francisco saw a greater decline at 4.3%. So remember, San Francisco is also a very high price market going into the pandemic. So the fact that their prices didn't keep up also makes sense. In September, Redfin put out an analysis that showed that Seattle was one of the fastest cooling markets in the country. This is basically because we have the higher priced homes. The increase in interest rates puts in bigger strain on potential buyers because the overall dollar amount that the home price or the monthly payment has increased is greater than if the homes were cheaper. From the National Association of Realtors, this is a reaction to jobs. The job gains continued in October, so we are seeing more people be hired And this is not, I mean, it's great that people are working, but it's not exactly what we want to see if we want to see the Fed drop the Fed funds rate. There are a few things that they're tracking, consumer pricing being one of them, but jobs is another big one that they are tracking. Really, they want to see people lose jobs in order to drop the Fed funds rate, which is an unfortunate situation, but that's what they have said. The mortgage rate could fall if there's a big gap between the bond market and the mortgage rates right now. Usually mortgage rates follow the 10-year yield bond pretty close. But right now there is a greater gap than normal, and it's not exactly clear why. So if we look at jobs, payroll jobs in the blue and all jobs in red, you can see that we have continued to tick up ever since the beginning of the pandemic, April, when people really shut down. We've ticked up on jobs ever since then. But if we look at the 10-year yield versus the 30-year mortgage rates, there is a couple big bumps here. This is the spread. So the Lehman Brothers bankruptcy was one of the peaks back in 2008-9, and then the arrival of COVID. But now we're like, why is the spread so large? Really, interest rates, according to the 10-year Treasury, should be in the sixes. And if we look at showing traffic for all of North America, you can see we have trailed off at a greater rate than we have in previous years. I do expect that to keep ticking down through the end of the year, probably. And if we bring it to our market stat minute for King County, we had 569 new listings in the last 7 days, 599 price reduced, 623 pending, and 497 sold. So we have stayed pretty consistent in pended listings, but dropped down in new listings and solds. For our local area breakouts, everywhere except for Federal Way, we had more price reductions than we had new listings coming to market. So there are just fewer listings coming to market. Those that are on the market are sitting, and motivated sellers are dropping the price so that their home can move quicker. And for our October recap from J. Lennox Scott for Southeast King County, we had a 1.7 month supply overall. We're still, 1 month supply, basically under $500,000. So anything that's under that price point is still going pretty quickly if it's presented appropriately and priced appropriately. But up in the 1.5 million in South King County, 1.5 plus, we have almost 5 months of supply. So this is definitely a buyer's market in this price point up here. And if we bring it to Southwest King County, overall, we have a month supply of 1.6. So if no new homes came to the market, we would sell out in 1.6 months if everything sold at the same rate, with about the same about 1 month supply for 500K and lower, and 5 month supply for 1.5 million and above. And last time, the average mortgage rate was 6.94 for the weekly average, but our daily rate was 7.32. So the weekly average is kind of a Monday to Monday comparison, and Monday, Tuesday on this particular week were much better pricing. By Friday, we had jumped up again to well over 7. Last week, we did pop up on the weekly average over 7, but there was no show last week. So this week, we are back under 7 for the weekly average. I do think it's important to point out that on Wednesday, the Fed raised the short-term lending rate again by another 75 basis points. This is probably going to have a little bit of a reaction throughout the housing market, unfortunately, and in not a great way. Interest rates will probably go up a little bit more. The uncertainty in both buyers and sellers is probably going to prevent some people from making a move. However, home prices have reduced. I think it's a great time to buy, to make a move. And then when interest rates go down, my guess is next year, mid next year, then you just refinance. And then you have overall less money that you owe because the overall price for the home was lower. So if you wait until interest rates go back down, then the bidding wars are going to come back, and home prices are going to go back up. For today's rate, we have 7.29. So we have come up since the beginning of the week. And with the Fed raising the rate, that is exactly what we would expect. And don't forget, tomorrow night before you go to bed, it is the daylight savings change. So go ahead and fall back, turn your clocks back an hour before you go to bed tomorrow night. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Number and email address are on the screen. I'd love to have a conversation with you about the real estate market in general, a specific area you might be interested in, or where you live. Let's just have a conversation. I would love to answer any questions that you may have and maybe share some options with you. Thank you so much for joining me. I will be back here next Friday at 3 p.m. with your local real estate news. Have a fantastic week. Go Seahawks on Sunday, and I will see you back here next Friday at 3. See you then.